And with that, I will turn it over to Lieutenant Governor.
Good morning. Still morning. A few more minutes. It's great to be here at North Shore Essex. Heidi, you did a beautiful job with your remarks. It just inspires the governor and me and our entire team to keep doing what we're doing for our technical schools and our schools throughout our Commonwealth. I want to credit you and your leadership and all of your faculty, your families and students for working so hard to bring kids back fully at this time of year, but starting your year at 50%, and how hard you work to make it a safe experience for all of your students. Thank you so very much. The words that you used from one of the students who benefited from these investments about work and learning together, that's exactly right, and it's a lifelong experience, but that's what brought the opportunity to his life. And that's what you focus on every single day, about making sure your students here have access to opportunity. When we were touring this massive building and peeking in at certain programs and waving to students as we would go by, I made note of the signs in every department, and every single department connects to the key industries of our innovation economy and of the whole economy in Massachusetts. So you are the definition of workforce development here on the North Shore, and thank you. Before the pandemic hit, as the governor said, we were talking a lot and doing a lot in this space, and the main reason is because we know that the talent is needed for the growth in our economy, but also because we were hearing from industry leaders and employers everywhere, we just need more people with skills to fill the jobs that we have. And so when you're graduating students here, you're graduating students with abilities to work together, problem solve, in addition to the expertise in a particular subject that earns them a license, a credential, a certificate. Some go on to community college for a 2-year degree, some go on to 4-year degrees, and some go on to be PhDs. We need them all. We need every part of that talent development to make sure that Massachusetts continues to succeed. And while we do that, we also have particular gaps that exist, workforce skills gaps, we have opportunity gaps, and we have achievement gaps to address. And the concern that we have is during this pandemic that those gaps are more pronounced than they were before. So it brings to us a sense of urgency and a sense of mission to accelerate the pace of developing this talent, utilizing the resources and abilities that you have at schools like this, not only for the students that enter as freshmen, but for people of your community that might be transitioning into a new career and being able to access your classrooms at night or maybe even on the weekends to obtain the certificates and the degrees so that they can access more opportunity in our economy. So thank you. I also have the opportunity of chairing the Massachusetts STEM Council. Next Thursday we have a STEM Summit where we are doing even further engagement with employers and making connections to educators and students throughout the Commonwealth. Its theme is Inspire a STEM Start. Having employers think about how you can incorporate internships and mentorships and making connections to your schools in your community. And you certainly do an abundance of that here. I also want to acknowledge, it was not lost on me, that there are young women pursuing these careers, and we certainly have a lot more opportunity to engage more young women and people of color in the trades and all the opportunities that you have here. You've got a big fan in the Lieutenant Governor in your mission to do just that. We have a lot of recipients, and we'd like to see more in the future, and I just want to take a moment to congratulate you for being one of them. We have 10 schools that are receiving career technical grants today. So the Greater Lawrence Technical School, Minuteman Regional Vocational Technical School, Montechusett Regional VOC-Tech, Neshoba Valley VOC-Tech, the Southeastern Regional School District, Greater Fall River Vocational, Essex North, right here, Whittier Regional, not too far, Greater Lowell, and Madison Park. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I also want to acknowledge one of the first things that the governor and our team did when coming into office was to obviously name our secretaries, but also encourage our secretaries to work across secretariats to get good stuff done. The Workforce Skills Cabinet is an example of just that. The Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Workforce Development, and the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development working together. So thank you all, and I'd now like to turn it over to Secretary Pizer.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Heidi, and your whole team for welcoming us this morning at Essex North Shore. I also, before I get started, want to give a shout out to two people who have made this program really possible, especially during these unusual times. Liz Bennett with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and Bob LePage from the Executive Office of Education. The Governor said at the outset, yes, absolutely, that, last March everything changed, but thankfully, thanks to Liz and Bob and Heidi and everybody here and everybody around the state and our vocational technical community, the work went on and progress has been made, and CTI has actually been launched despite all of the challenges and burdens. And a critical part of CTI, or essentially its sort of core model, is running a vocational school in 3 shifts: regular school day, for students who are enrolled in the vocational school, after-school programs for students who are in local high schools but are not enrolled directly in the Voc Tech school itself, as well as evening programs. And I want to talk a little bit about that second shift, which is a critical part of expanding opportunities for high school students to gain access to a career technical education, or CTE, during that second shift in the afternoon after the regular school day is finished, or in some cases, including here, during the afternoon session of the Voc Tech program itself. And the basic model is for students in surrounding high schools who are not enrolled in a regular Voc Tech day program to take their general education courses at their local high school in the morning and then travel to the local or regional Voc Tech school in order to take technical coursework and participate in shops and labs with the CTE faculty. These students are full-fledged CTE students, even though they are on this split schedule. By providing new access to a vocational education, this after-hours initiative ensures greater utilization of our Voc Tech assets and leverages the skills and talents of our CTE faculty. At the same time, it opens doors to students who may not have thought that CTE was where they wanted to go in middle school, which is normally when these choices and decisions are made, or who may just be on a waiting list waiting to get into a Voc Tech program that's oversubscribed. This week, Commissioner Riley approved 6 new second shift programs, including partnerships between 4 North Shore high schools and Essex North Shore, one of those communities being Swampscott. That was an applause line, Governor Swampscott. There we go. And now, as a result of that, it's still an applause line. There are now 31 after-hours programs available at 6 Voc Tech schools in partnership with 17 local high schools. Over the next 3 to 4 years, we expect the second shift of CTI will increase high school Voc Tech enrollment by about 25%, more than doubling the growth of CTE enrollment that we've seen over the last 5 to 6 years. It will also help address equity gaps and accelerate the ongoing diversification of career technical enrollment. The second shift is part of a multi-pronged effort to expand access to career education and applied learning, especially in STEM fields. In particular, it builds on our investment of close to $90 million, which will soon be over $100 million, in capital equipment for high-demand technical programs at vocational high schools, community colleges, community-based training organizations, and others. And it complements the development of early career programs like Innovation Pathways, which offer non-vocational students a coherent course of study throughout high school tied to a key industry sector, complemented by consistent opportunities for career exploration and work-based learning experiences, as well as access to post-secondary coursework. Taken together, these several initiatives represent the most significant expansion of career technical education in over a generation. This is a great accomplishment, and again, I want to thank the Governor and Lieutenant Governor and my colleagues on the Workforce Skills Cabinet for making this possible. And with that, I'd like to introduce my Workforce Skills Cabinet colleague, Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, Rosalind Acosta.
Good morning, everyone. So good to be here and actually see you. Always great to be back on the North Shore. I am a North Shore girl at heart after spending so many decades here, so great to be back here in Essex North. So I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, my fellow secretaries, Heidi, Bonnie, for inviting us to tour this beautiful school and to see all of the great things that you're doing here. Our world seems to have shifted into like this BC and AC, right? Before COVID and after COVID. And before COVID, Massachusetts economy was enjoying an unemployment rate of 2.8%. AC, we saw unemployment rates reach 16.7% in Massachusetts, the highest that we've ever seen in our history. We lost over 700,000 jobs in just a few months. Fortunately, we've gained back around 400,000 of those jobs, but clearly we still have some work to do. When I look at our claimant pool right now, between the federal programs and our traditional unemployment programs, we're still paying almost 500,000 people unemployment insurance. And some of those programs on the federal side that we never paid before, for example, to independent workers, last until the beginning of September, unless extended. So I'm here to tell you that I'm extremely excited about a program like this Career Technical Initiative. The governor said in his fiscal year 22 budget, there's $17 million that's allocated for this program. $15.5 million of that is directly for what we call the After Dark program. So after that second shift that Secretary Pizer talked about, this is the night program. This is where adults get to come in and enjoy the incredible equipment that is in these wonderful, wonderful schools. And working closely with our mass hire system, we know exactly who's unemployed. We know exactly the pool that we have to draw on. And you know what? LG said beautifully, this is all about access and opportunity. That's exactly what this is. Because unfortunately, coming out of this pandemic, it looks a little differently. And we know that women have been disproportionately affected by unemployment. We know that women make up now 54% of our unemployment claimant pool. And while unemployment is 2.8%, I wish, is at 6.8% on average, we also know that for our Latino community, it's 17.5%. And for blacks, it's 14.5%. So yes, it looks different. So it is our job now to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can with these dollars to make sure that we're pulling in all of the communities that probably have not had the access to these programs previous to now. So we really do need to step up our work there. And these are good jobs. These are good jobs in high-demand sectors that are going to be high-demand sectors for decades. So this isn't a one-and-done thing. We've got a lot of work to do, and I'm really looking forward to working with schools like Essex, continue to work with my Workforce Skills Cabinet members to make sure that we are focusing and being very intentional about how these programs are executed. So thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our third Workforce Skills Cabinet colleague, Secretary Keneally.
Well, thank you. It's great to be with you all today. Really wonderful to be here. You know, before the pandemic, we all used to travel a lot more. And I always loved my visits to vocational technical high schools. You walk the halls here, and you see amazing things. You see students eager to learn new skills. You see dedicated and experienced faculty working with them. You see cutting-edge technology and equipment. These are wonderful places, and you can just kind of feel the potential when you walk these halls. And, we've been doing this work now for quite some time, really going back to the earliest days of the Baker-Polito administration, investing capital in our vocational technical high schools so they can expand their offerings and close skills gaps around the state. That was really important work in a 3% unemployment economy. It is so much more urgent now after the pandemic. And if we get this career technical initiative right, if we do it at the scale we want to do it at, great things are going to happen. So many of our high school students and adult learners will develop new skills and find exciting new pathways, new careers. And our industries, our companies, will have more talent. And we're just not going to have the kind of economy we all want to have unless everybody has an opportunity and unless we have the talent we need to compete. We all know in Massachusetts we're all about talent. And so this is really, really important work and wonderful to be with everybody today. And it's really how we get things done here in Massachusetts, that partnership between government and business and education. So congratulations to the award winners today. Look forward to working with all of you. And